Welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, the Zodiac.
The Zodiac.
But as always,
The twist.
there is a twist.
Yeah.
And this is that we're going to be looking at the Zodiac
Through a Hungarian lens.
through a Hungarian article.
Yeah.
That's right. This is going to be a little different than our usual take on the Zodiac. I, for one, am very excited to see what we uncover.
Me too.
But before we do that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and the article?
Sure. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm an expert in, well, all things Zodiac.
All things astrology.
Yeah, all things astrology.
Right.
And today we're going to be looking at this Hungarian article that I found. The title is A Horoscopok Datuma Metol Mediktart as a 12 Szilagyi Pontos Datuma.
Wow.
Which translates to from when to when do the horoscopes last? This is the exact date of the 12 zodiac signs.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to be talking about the dates of the zodiac signs according to this Hungarian source.
According to the Hungarian article, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So before we jump into the specifics of each sign, why don't we just do a quick recap for anyone who maybe needs a refresher on what the zodiac is.
Sounds good.
So the zodiac is a system in Western astrology that divides the year into 12 sections, each linked to a specific constellation and its symbolic meaning.
Exactly. And those meanings are then attributed to people based on when they're born.
Exactly. So it's used to kind of interpret personality traits, predict potential, understand relationship dynamics, all that good stuff.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, great. So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm falling right into it.
Let's do it.
So first up, we've got Aries, the fiery ram, kicking off the zodiac year from March 21st to April 19th.
Yeah, those are the dates that the article lists.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what does the article say about Aries?
Well, the article kind of paints this picture of Aries as being very bold and passionate.
Okay.
They even compare Aries to like a fiery steed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, charging ahead fearlessly, almost like a knight.
Oh, wow, a knight.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, so it adds this like layer of chivalry.
Yeah.
And a sense of fighting for what's right to that classic Aries boldness.
Okay, so it's not just boldness, it's like
it's purposeful boldness.
It's purposeful boldness. There's a mission behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
It is interesting.
Yeah. And when we consider that Aries is a fire sign and ruled by Mars, which is the planet of action and energy, it all starts to make sense.
Yeah, all these little pieces really start to fit together.
Yeah, exactly. So that Martian influence really fuels their drive and their pioneering spirit.
Yeah, they definitely like to be the first ones to try something new.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
Move on.
From the fiery ram, we have Taurus, the bull.
The bull.
Spanning from April 20th to May 20th.
Yes.
So what does the article say about Taurus?
Well, it describes Taurus as being very stable.
Okay.
Like a strong oak tree.
Strong oak tree, okay.
Yeah, and they also mention a satin ribbon connecting things, which I thought was interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, so it's like they provide this stability and they connect things together.
Yeah, they bring things together.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you consider that Taurus is an earth sign ruled by Venus.
Right.
The planet of love, beauty, and pleasure. Exactly.
So they appreciate the finer things in life.
Yeah.
Good food, good company.
Yeah.
Just enjoying life's pleasures.
Absolutely. Okay, so next up we have Gemini.
Gemini.
The twins, going from May 21st to June 20th. Okay, so what does the article say about Gemini?
It says that Geminis are like joyful birds.
Oh.
Flitting from branch to branch.
Interesting.
Always on the move.
Okay, so very adaptable.
Very adaptable, yeah. And they also use the analogy of a satin scarf.
A satin scarf. To describe their ever-changing and flowing nature.
I see. So it's like
always changing.
They can adapt to any situation.
Yeah, they can go with the flow.
Okay, and that makes sense, right? Because they are an air sign.
Yes.
And ruled by Mercury.
The planet of communication.
Right, the planet of communication and intellect.
Exactly.
So that kind of explains their quick wit
Yeah, and their love for communication.
Right. They love to talk. They love to learn.
They love to learn.
They love to connect with people.
Mm-hmm. Very social creatures.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to Cancer.
Yes.
The crab.
Spanning from June 21st to July 22nd. Yeah. Okay, and what does our Hungarian source say about Cancer?
It uses this beautiful image of the sea to describe them.
Oh, the sea. Okay.
Yeah, vast,
Right.
deep, full of life.
Okay, so very...
Deeply emotional.
Deeply emotional.
Yeah, okay, and nurturing.
Nurturing, okay.
Mm-hmm. And they also connect Cancer to silk clothing.
Silk clothing, okay.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Providing comfort and warmth.
Interesting. So it's like they create...
Like a safe haven.
Yeah, a safe haven for themselves and for others.
Exactly, yeah. They want to nurture and care for the people they love.
Yeah, and that makes sense when you consider that Cancer is a water sign ruled by the moon.
The moon, which governs our emotions and intuition.
Exactly. So they're very in touch with their emotions.
Yeah, and they're also very intuitive.
Right. They have a strong sense of intuition.
Yeah, they can often just sense things.
Yeah, they just know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's fascinating. So we've covered the first 4 signs. We've got, 8 more to go?
Plus Ophiuchus.
Plus Ophiuchus. Oh, that's right.
The mysterious 13th sign.
Yes, the mysterious 13th sign. We can't forget about that one.
We can't forget about Ophiuchus.
All right, well, I am ready to keep going if you are.
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm excited to see what else this article has to say.
Me too.
Okay, so we're picking back up with some of the finer points of each sign.
Yeah, we kind of did a quick overview of like the energy of each sign.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want to get into some more specifics about personality.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's go back to the top with Aries, the ram.
The ram.
We talked about their bold and passionate nature.
Yes.
But what other kind of personality traits does the article highlight?
Well, the article talks about how they have a strong sense of honor and chivalry.
Okay.
And even like a warrior spirit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're always ready to fight for what's right.
Okay, so it's like they're not just bold for the sake of being bold.
Right.
They have like a purpose.
Yeah, a purpose
behind their actions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool.
I like that.
And that kind of ties back to that night imagery, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're on a mission to conquer evil or something.
To make the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly.
In their own way.
In their own way, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Aries.
That's Aries.
Okay, so let's move on to Taurus.
Taurus, the bull.
The bull. Okay, so we talked about how they appreciate the finer things in life.
Mm-hmm.
But what other personality nuances does the article highlight?
Well, it talks about how they have a deep connection to nature.
Okay.
And they love like gardening and cooking and just creating beauty in their surroundings.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're very sensual.
Okay, so it's like they really enjoy the physical world.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and they want to create like a beautiful and harmonious environment for themselves and for the people around them.
Yeah, they want to share that beauty with others.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is.
Okay, so moving on to Gemini, the
twins.
So we touched on their adaptable and communicative nature.
Yeah, they're very versatile.
But what other personality traits stand out in the article?
Well, it talks about how they love to learn,
Yeah.
and they're always curious about the world.
Okay, so very intellectually curious.
Yeah, very curious.
Okay, and that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're ruled by Mercury.
Mercury, the planet of communication.
Right, so they love to talk, they love to think.
Yeah, they love to exchange ideas.
Yeah, and they're very good at communicating their ideas
to
others.
Yeah, they can talk to anybody.
Yeah, I know a few Geminis, and that's definitely true.
They're very social.
Yeah, very social.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Cancer.
Cancer.
The crown.
Yeah.
So we talked about their nurturing and sensitive nature. But what else does the article reveal about their personality?
Well, it talks about how they're very nostalgic.
Okay.
They have a strong connection to the past, and they love to reminisce about old times.
Interesting. So they're very sentimental.
They are, yeah. They're very in touch with their emotions.
Right, and that makes sense because they're ruled by the moon.
The moon, which governs our emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Leo.
Leo?
The lion.
The lion.
So we talked about their confidence and their love for the spotlight.
Yeah, they love to shine.
But what other personality traits come to mind?
Well, it talks about how they're very generous.
Okay.
And they have like this big heart.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they really want to make others feel good.
Interesting. So it's not just about them being the center of attention.
Correct.
It's about making other people feel good too.
Mm. Yeah, they want to share their light with others.
Yeah, I like that.
It's nice.
Okay, so on to Virgo.
Virgo.
The meticulous and analytical sign.
Right.
So what other personality traits does the article focus on?
Well, it talks about how they're very practical.
Okay.
And they love order and efficiency.
Okay, so very organized.
Very organized.
Okay, and that makes sense because they're an earth sign, right?
Yeah, they're very grounded.
Very grounded. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Libra, the sign of balance and harmony.
Right.
We mentioned their diplomatic nature, but what other personality traits does the article bring to light?
Well, it talks about how they're very fair-minded.
Okay.
And they always try to see both sides of every story.
Okay, so they're good at mediating conflicts.
They are. Yeah. They're very good at finding compromise.
And that makes sense because they're symbolized by the scales.
The scales, yeah.
It's all about balance.
It's all about balance.
Yeah. Okay. Let's venture into the depths of Scorpio.
Scorpio.
The Scorpion.
Scorpion.
So we touched on their intensity and their ability to transform. But what other personality traits stand out?
Well, the article talks about how they're very resourceful.
Okay.
And they're very good at overcoming challenges.
Okay, so they're resilient.
Very resilient.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, they don't give up easily.
All right. And that makes sense when you consider that they're ruled by Pluto.
Pluto, the planet of transformation.
Right. So they're always evolving and changing. Okay, so let's gallop on to Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Archer.
Archer.
So we talked about their adventurous spirit.
Yes.
But what other personality traits does the article emphasize?
Well, it talks about how they're very optimistic.
Okay.
And they always have like this positive outlook on life.
Okay, so they're very upbeat.
Yeah, very upbeat.
And that makes sense because they're ruled by Jupiter.
Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion.
Right. So they always see the best in people.
They do.
And they always believe that good things are going to happen.
Yeah, they're very hopeful.
Okay. So on to Capricorn.
Capricorn.
The mountain goat.
The mountain goat.
So we discussed their ambition and their discipline.
Yes.
But what other personality traits does the article reveal?
Well, the article talks about how they're very responsible.
Okay.
And they take their commitments very seriously.
Okay. So very reliable.
Very reliable.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the people you can always count on.
And that makes sense because they're ruled by Saturn.
Saturn, the planet of structure and responsibility.
Right. So they like to follow the rules.
They do.
And they like to do things the right way.
Yeah, they're very, very principled.
Okay. So let's tune into the unique frequency of Aquarius.
Aquarius.
The water bearer.
The water bearer.
So we talked about their innovative and independent nature.
Yeah, they're very unique.
But what other personality traits come to mind?
Well, the article talks about how they're very humanitarian.
Okay.
And they really care about making the world a better place.
Okay, so very altruistic.
Very altruistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to help others.
And that makes sense because they're ruled by Uranus.
Uranus, the planet of revolution and change.
Right. So they're always thinking outside the box.
Yeah, they're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
Yeah. Okay, and let's drift into the dreamy realm of Pisces, the fish.
The fish.
So we talked about their compassionate and intuitive nature.
Yeah, they're very empathetic.
But what other personality traits does the article highlight?
Well, it talks about how they're very creative.
Okay.
And they have a very vivid imagination.
Okay, so very artistic.
Very artistic. Okay.
Yeah, they're often drawn to music and art and writing.
Right, and that makes sense because they're ruled by Neptune.
Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusion.
Yeah, right. So they have a very strong connection to their intuition and their imagination.
Yeah, they're very in touch with their inner world.
Okay, and finally, we return to Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus.
The serpent bearer.
The serpent bearer.
So what other personality traits does the article associate with this often overlooked sign?
Well, it talks about how they're very intuitive.
Okay.
And they have a strong connection to the spiritual realm.
Okay, so very mystical.
Very mystical.
Okay.
Yeah, they're often drawn to esoteric subjects.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so wow, we've just explored such a wide range of personality traits.
We have.
And it's incredible how each sign seems to bring something unique and valuable to the table.
Yeah, it's amazing how diverse the zodiac is. Yeah, and it's not just about the positive traits either.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, every sign has its shadow side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I think it's important to be aware of both the light and the shadow.
Yeah, because that's what makes us human, right?
It is.
We all have our strengths and our weaknesses.
We do.
Yeah, so I think it'd be really interesting to kind of delve into some of the shadow sides of each sign.
Yeah, let's do that.
Not to judge or criticize,
Right.
but just to kind of gain a deeper understanding.
To understand the full spectrum of each sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Aries.
Aries.
The ram.
Okay.
So what are some of the potential pitfalls of their bold and fiery nature?
Well, sometimes their boldness can turn into impulsiveness.
Okay.
And they can act without thinking.
Right. So they need to learn to maybe slow down a little bit.
Yeah, to think before they act.
And maybe think about the consequences of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about Taurus?
Taurus.
What are some of the potential downsides of their grounded and pleasure-seeking nature?
Well, sometimes their love of comfort and stability can turn into stubbornness.
Okay.
And they can be resistant to change.
Right. So they need to learn to be a little bit more flexible.
Yeah, to be open to new experiences.
Okay. What about Gemini?
Gemini.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their adaptable and communicative nature?
Well, sometimes their adaptability can make them seem scattered or inconsistent.
Right, because they're always like changing their minds.
Yeah, they have a hard time making up their minds.
Okay, and they can be frustrating for people who are trying to work with them or have a relationship with them. Right.
Yeah, it can be.
Okay, so now let's talk about Cancer.
Cancer.
What are some of the potential downsides of their deeply emotional and nurturing nature?
Well, sometimes their sensitivity can lead to moodiness.
Okay.
And they can be very easily hurt.
Right, so they need to maybe develop a thicker skin.
Yeah, and to learn to not take things so personally.
Okay, and what about Leo?
Leo.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their radiant and confident nature?
Well, sometimes their confidence can turn into arrogance.
Okay.
And they can be very self-centered.
Right, so they need to learn to be a little bit more humble.
Yeah, and to appreciate the contributions of others.
Okay, now on to Virgo.
Virgo.
What are some of the potential downsides of their meticulous and service-oriented nature?
Well, sometimes their attention to detail can lead to perfectionism.
Okay.
And they can be very critical of themselves and others.
Right, so they need to learn to relax a little bit.
Yeah, and to accept that things don't have to be perfect.
And to focus on the big picture.
Yeah.
Rather than the small details.
Yeah, sometimes they get bogged down in the details.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Libra?
Libra.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their balanced and harmonious nature?
Well, sometimes their desire for harmony can lead to indecisiveness.
Okay.
And they can have a hard time making decisions.
Right, because they're always trying to weigh all the options.
Yeah, they want to make sure that everyone's happy.
Right.
That's not always possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's delve into the shadow side of Scorpio.
Yep.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their intense and passionate nature?
Well, sometimes their intensity can turn into jealousy.
Okay.
Or possessiveness.
Okay, so they need to learn to maybe trust a little bit more.
Yeah, and to let go of their need for control.
Okay, what about Sagittarius?
Sagittarius.
What are some of the potential downsides of their adventurous and freedom-loving nature?
Well, sometimes their love of freedom can make them seem restless or uncommitted.
Right, so they need to learn to maybe settle down a little bit.
Yeah, to find a balance between freedom and responsibility.
Okay, now let's talk about Capricorn.
Capricorn.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their ambitious and disciplined nature?
Well, sometimes their ambition can lead to workaholism.
Okay.
And they can have a hard time relaxing.
Right. So they need to learn to maybe take a break.
Yeah, to take some time for themselves.
And to enjoy life.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Aquarius?
Aquarius.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their innovative and independent nature?
Well, sometimes the independence can make them seem detached.
Okay.
Or unemotional.
Right. So they need to learn to maybe connect with their emotions a little bit more.
Yeah, and to express their feelings.
Okay. Now on to Pisces.
Pisces.
What are some of the potential pitfalls of their dreamy and compassionate nature?
Well, sometimes their compassion can make them easily taken advantage of or too trusting.
Right. So they need to learn to set some boundaries.
Yeah, to protect themselves.
Okay. And finally, let's talk about Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus.
What are some of the potential challenges that might arise for this sign of transformation and wisdom?
Well, sometimes their focus on transformation can lead to isolation.
Okay.
They can feel like they don't fit in.
Right, because they're always changing.
Yeah, they're always evolving.
And other people might not understand that.
Yeah, it can be hard for them to find people who can relate to them.
Right. So maybe they need to learn to be a little bit more patient with others.
Yeah, and to explain themselves better.
Okay, wow. We just covered so much ground.
You did.
Exploring both the light and the shadow sides of each sign.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think it just goes to show that we're all complex beings.
We are.
Right.
Yeah, we're all a mix of light and shadow.
Yeah, and that's what makes us interesting.
It does.
Right. Okay, so I want to circle back to something you said earlier about each sign contributing to a larger cosmic balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to hear more about your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's interesting how each sign kind of represents a different aspect of human experience.
Okay.
You have the fire signs with their passion and energy.
Yeah.
The earth signs with their practicality and groundedness.
Mm-hmm.
The air signs with their intellect and communication skills.
Yeah.
And the water signs with their emotional depth and intuition.
Right.
And then you have Ophiuchus, which represents like the journey of the soul.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like each sign has its own unique role to play.
It does.
In this grand cosmic dance.
Yeah, it's like a giant puzzle where every piece is essential.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that astrology is not about prediction or putting people in boxes.
Right.
It's really about understanding yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And understanding the people around you.
Yeah.
And it's a tool for growth and self-discovery.
Right. It's like a roadmap that can help you navigate the complexities of life.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us on this celestial adventure.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. It has. And until next time, keep those stars shining bright.
Keep shining.
Yeah, it really is fascinating how a sign's greatest strength can also be a potential weakness.
It's like too much of a good thing can sometimes backfire.
Right, exactly. It's all about
finding that balance.
Finding that balance, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of balance, you mentioned Ophiuchus earlier.
Oh yeah, Ophiuchus.
Which is this 13th sign.
The 13th sign
that often gets left out of traditional
Zodiac interpretations.
Zodiac interpretations, yeah. And I think it's so interesting that our Hungarian source includes Ophiuchus.
Yeah, it definitely adds a unique perspective.
It does. And it really, it kind of emphasizes this whole idea of transformation and shedding old skins.
Right, like a snake.
Yeah, exactly, like a snake shedding its skin.
Yeah, it's a powerful symbol of renewal and rebirth.
Right, and I think it's a good reminder that transformation is not always easy.
No, it can be quite challenging.
Yeah, it can be painful, it can be messy.
Definitely.
But it's necessary for growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to let go of the old in order to make space for the new.
Right, exactly. And I think when we look at the zodiac as a whole, it's like each sign represents a different stage.
A different stage of the journey.
Yeah, of this transformational journey.
Yeah, it's like a spiral.
A spiral, yeah.
Yeah, you're constantly evolving and growing.
Right, and it's not linear either.
No, it's not linear.
Right.
Yeah, you might revisit certain themes or lessons
multiple times
throughout your life.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool to think about how each sign's energy can help us to navigate those different stages of the journey.
It's like each sign has its own set of tools and wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we can learn from each sign.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, we can learn from all 12 signs plus Ophiuchus.
Yeah, and even the ones that maybe we don't resonate with as much.
Right. Yeah, there's always something to learn from every sign.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to remember that astrology is a journey. Oh, yeah. It's not a destination.
Okay.
And it's really about exploration and self-discovery.
Self-discovery, yeah.
And it's not about trying to fit yourself into a box or trying to be someone that you're not.
Right.
It's really about embracing your own unique individuality.
Right, and using astrology as a tool to help you understand yourself better.
Exactly.
And to grow and evolve.
Yeah, it's a lifelong process.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us on this celestial adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been a lot of fun. And until next time, keep those stars shining bright.
Keep shining bright.